I want to introduce my very special guest, Rhea Johnson. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be a part of your event.
I am so glad that you're here with us. Rhea, can you please tell us, just introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you do?
All right, Andrea. So I am a real estate closing attorney, primarily, even though our umbrella covers a couple of different things. That is our primary area of specialty.
Okay.
We have offices in Fayetteville and Midtown, and we typically provide more of a boutique experience. We're a little different from some of the big box real estate closing firms. We know everybody by name. We celebrate with our agents, and we show appreciation several times throughout the year with different treats here and there. And we're also available to them to answer questions and to assist with other things that may not necessarily be a real estate closing, but may have some other layers regarding their real estate practice.
Can you briefly tell us what happens before closing? What is it that you do to get people, to the closing table and everything signed, sealed, and delivered?
Right. So when the contract comes in to us, we initially have to make contact with the parties. Our due diligence begins at title. So we wait to make sure that the people are really invested in the deal. So our practice and policy is to wait until you clear due diligence, because we do put a lot of work and effort into it, and we want to make sure that you're invested before we get invested.
Okay.
And so once we make sure that the due diligence period has cleared and everybody's moving forward, earnest money's in, then we go ahead and start the title review process, and we have examiners that go and do the review, and they'll even go to the property if needed. There is work done at the courthouse, real estate records, and sometimes going to the probate court as well, depending on what they find in the real estate record. So that typically takes about a week and a half. Now, we've seen a little bit longer because the volume has really picked up with the examiner. So typically it's about 5 days, and that's about 7 or 8. And that's business days that we see coming back with the title review. But once it comes back from the examiner, we then have to go through it with a fine-tooth comb and see where the holes are, see if there's something that they'll give us information to say, well, this wasn't released, or we see this on title, this needs more follow-up. And then that's where we come in to do the digging that we need to do to get the documentation that we need to be able to give someone clear title, because sometimes this is muddy with FIFAs and liens and old mortgages. And if a person has a common name, sometimes it comes back with all kinds of stuff, and we have to sift through it and figure out what is really something that belongs to this person, what doesn't. And in the process of that, we have to reach out to the sellers, and sometimes it can be a really rough road if we don't have their information. Some agents hold it close to the vest, so it's difficult getting that information, getting a seller on the phone who may be overseas, a seller who may, be an investor who has really not very much information about a house that they've only owned for 2 months.
Right.
So it's just, trying to still clear it up, because we have to give clear title to the next person.
Right.
So that's something that we work toward doing. And then one other thing that people don't know is that when a person has a lender, that title request comes from the lender. And the lender is asking us to check title not only on the seller, but they're also asking us to check information on the buyer.
Okay.
So even if they've gone through an underwriting process to check the person's credit, there may be things on the record, judgments and liens, that they may not have found in their credit search, but we may find that there's a tax lien out there that as soon as they take ownership in this property, the tax lien is going to attach to the property. So then we have to notify the bank that this tax lien is out there, and they have to decide from an underwriting perspective if they want them to pay it, or if they're willing to allow them to take ownership, knowing that it's going to be, encumbered immediately upon closing.
Wow.
So sometimes buyers don't know that, and so we have to reach out to them and tell them this is what we found. They're like, why are you looking at my stuff?
Right.
And it's like, well, this is because
Like,
it's a
that's already
lender
been
requirement.
done,
So lender
right?
deals have a lot more legs.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Rhea. I know you I'm sure there's a lot more to cover on what else you guys do. What are some of the costs included into the what do the costs look like for the closing fees?
Right. So every closing attorney is going to have a settlement agent fee, and that will vary. And that's mostly what you're going to see in terms of, competitiveness. Some closing attorney fees may be $450, some may be $650, some may be $7 or $8.
Okay.
It really just depends, and sometimes you can just kind of see different in different locales who's charging more on the north end of town. They may be able to get away with charging $700 to $800 for a settlement fee.
Gotcha.
Some refinances have that. So there's a settlement agent fee, which is just the attorney fee for doing the service. Then there's a title exam fee for the title exam work, and that is what is paid to these examiners for actually doing the legwork and going out to the courthouses and then for us to do the processing and review.
Wow.
So there's that fee. So it's a third-party element to the title exam fee. It's a real cost outside of the firm. Then there's also title insurance, and title insurance is based on the amount of the purchase. And so we see a lot of people that will start out with their deal, and when they get real tight with the numbers with their lender, the lender will encourage them to get rid of their owner's title policy.
Okay.
And then they'll say, okay, well, the lenders have to get in a policy. So the title policy is bifurcated. We can give an owner's policy and a lender's policy, and it's a little bit of a discount if we're doing two policies.
Oh, okay.
If we're only doing a lender policy, then the buyer still has to pay for that lender policy. They just don't get the owner's policy.
Okay.
And so it protects the lender's investment, so that if anything shows up on title that we weren't able to find, or something that is a cloud on title, it'll protect the lender's money.
Right.
But if there's equity in that deal, or equity 15 years down the road, it will still only protect the lender. It won't protect the home buyer. So that title policy that the owner is foregoing at closing may come back to bite them in the butt later.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, thank you so
that's based
much.
on purchase price, and so that can fluctuate.
Okay. Well, that is a wealth of information, Rhea. I don't think that, this is something that a lot of homeowners and people in the market looking to buy even think about until maybe on the day of. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your wealth of information. And hopefully you guys have learned something from this. Rhea, I know you are a resource. I've had the pleasure of working with you in the past. Can you please tell the people how to reach you and where your office is?
All right. We're located directly across from the Fed Pavilion in Fayetteville. We're at 101 Beckett Lane. So we're right next to the PNC Bank and directly across from the Pavilion on the Highway 85 side. Our phone number is 404-862-6922, and that is the real estate line to reach us. Okay. You can send us a contract at rsjohnsonlegal.com. And then if you need estate planning, we're online under Wills and Probate Express. Okay. So Wills and Probate Express for estate planning, you can find us there.
Okay, guys, if you need a closing attorney, and if you need estate planning and wills, Rhea Johnson will be a wonderful resource. I want to thank you so much again for joining me today. I'm your real estate broker and host, Andrea Farley. You can reach more videos. You can reach me at 404-965-5041. And to watch more videos, you can go on YouTube under Dream Real Estate. Our Cash App is $DREADAY 511. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, health is wealth, and real estate can be too. Have a blessed day. Thanks again for watching.